Well, hello there, and welcome back to another video. Before I start, spoilers, okay? If you don't want any Pokemon Master spoilers, Pokemon Masters content for January 2024, 2023, I'm getting ahead of myself. Click away from this video, alright? I don't want to spoil anyone about the new content that's gonna come out because the Datamines have been, gotten, and so we know what's gonna be in the next month. So again, I'm here to talk about it. I'm not gonna talk about like anything story related, or like gem related, or like banner schedule, all that stuff. I'm not gonna talk about. What I'm just gonna straight up talk about are the units, the new units, and then changes if there's any sync rate expansion, all that stuff, and a little bit of like what I think about them. So just be warned, spoilers. But if you're gone this far and you still want to watch, well then here we go. So the Datamine has happened, and again, it's for right now. It's like the end of December 2022, and this is what's gonna be the new stuff that's gonna be released for January 2023. And I just want to talk about it. I think this is a new style that I'm gonna go for, a new type of video that I'm gonna see if it goes well here. I'm just gonna talk because I've played this game for a while. Pokemon Masters, I've been playing since release, and I've been pretty solid at predicting what units are good, what units are not good. I have the experience. I've gotten a few units wrong. For example, Suit Lusamine, I thought she was not good. Turns out she's really good. Well, for the most part, I'm pretty good. So yeah, let's talk about the new units, okay? So the first, what the website I use, also my resources that I use. So to learn about like what's happening, like with the new Datamine, is usually on Reddit. Reddit, the Pokemon Master subreddit, has like all the information and links you need. That's usually where the Datamines are first posted. And Serebii, which is this website, Pokemon website, is pretty good because they have a lot of information. Like anything Pokemon related, I use this website. So yeah, I use this website for like all Pokemon games and all that stuff. And so this is also the website I use for Pokemon Masters. They don't exactly like say Datamine, but they do release information for Datamine. It's gonna be on this website here. And so you can see these are the new units, but also they've added the new sync grids and everything. And then I am going to use this tool, Pokemon Master tools.web. This is where I can show some sync grids, some theory crafting sync grids. All right, I'm not gonna say these are the best sync grids. You should go out and get these, but like just some theory crafting on how the units are gonna be. I like the website Sync Grid Helper, but I think the creator had an issue with their father, or his or her father, and they just haven't been updating Sync Grid Helper, and so that site's kind of dead, unfortunately. I really like using that site. That's what the site I was using since Sync Grid came out. Like I used that site, but now we have to use this other site, which is okay. But I like that one better. Anyways, just to talk about the new units. The first new unit here is Dawn and Oricorio Senchu style. So I think this is a Alolan Pokemon, right? I think this is from like the islands of Lola. I think there's like one type. There's different styles, right? There's one style per island. And this is the lavender style. But yeah, we have Dawn New Year. So it kind of spoils like when she would be released and like for what event. But she's a 5-star tech. All right, interesting. I think she looks okay. I think this is kind of like, I want to say like the Japanese inspired, or Japanese inspired like New Year dress up. I think it looks pretty good. The Pokemon itself is going to be Ghost type. Okay, a lot of first off, when I see Ghost type, I'm thinking a lot of competition. You're competing with New Year Lily, which is literally out right now. Like her first rerun, Anniversary Lily is out right now. You're also competing with Suit Cynthia, with Giratina. That's a really good unit. That potentially, I would argue that that unit is actually better than Lily. And then you're also you're competing with you know, Morty, which is really good. Fatima, who just got Synchro expansion and 6-star. You're also competing with Sigma Suit Karina, which I don't have. I have all the other units that I mentioned besides Sigma Suit Karina, but she's also really good. Apparently. All right, so you're competing with a lot of stuff in this category, and as a tech unit, you're directly competing with you know, Cynthia right here. So then we look at the passive skills. I always look at everything. You know, you have to look at everything: the skills, the stats, the moves, and the sync grid. You know, I always look through the whole kit. Setup times 2. When the user stat is raised, it raised by double. All right, so pretty interesting. So for example, it requires a low setup. So if you have a support unit that raises crit rate, because the max crit rate is 3 times, right? So you only need to raise max crit rate twice, and then it will bump it up to 4 times until you max it out. So this unit is really easy to max out the stats. Also, I'm thinking of combos like think about like Blue and Professor Sycamore, Signal Suit Blue and Professor Sycamore. When they get hit, it increases your team's like stats, but it can do it by twice. So you know, if you get so with Blue, if you're attacking with Blue and Blue is getting hit, then you know this unit can get its attack raised and special attack raised and defense and special defense raised by like twice the normal amount. So like super good in that sense. Double drop when your opponent stat is lowered by double stat. So I think this is similar to Iris, Champion Iris. So it makes it a good like tech unit to like lower stats. In my opinion, when I play Pokemon Masters, I'm not really a big fan of stat lowering. You generally want to buff your own stat because a lot of the times the opponent has abilities that lower the stat like drop. So if you lower your opponent's special attack all the way down to like -6, they might have an ability that lessens the amount that their attack is decreased. And so in actuality, when you lower their attack, it doesn't affect them that much. And then stats like speed in this game like don't really matter at all. So like if you lower your the enemy's speed, it like literally does nothing in my opinion. So really, when you lower stats in Pokemon Master, it's really only for you to do buff, because some units rely on your opponent being low stat. Like the lower your opponent's special defense, the more damage this attack will do. So yeah, so double drop is pretty good in terms of like buffing your own moves as opposed to debuffing your opponent. And then this is the first time I've seen this ability, extra special ghost damage. So basically when this unit does damage with special ghosts, it does extra damage, I suppose. So yeah, I guess we're gonna have to wait and see how much extra damage this is, but that seems good, right? It seems it will have a place to kind of compete with, as I mentioned, Cynthia and Lily, which are like the main thing you're competing with, because those are both master units. We're looking at the stats here. 400 special attack here at level 150, 440 if you max potential. So 440 is pretty good. Like that's pretty high special attack. Speed is also pretty good, 340. Defense, honestly, over 200 for defense is really good. And then 769 HP. So like these units have this unit has excellent stats. But then we have to look, it's a tech unit. A lot of tech units nowadays have really good stats when they release. Before, I think when the game first came out, tech units were awfully statted, but nowadays tech units are really greatly statted. So this unit has great stats. Moves, Revelation Dance, which is gonna be like your special move that does I think it's, how much move gauge is it? The 4? Wait a minute, I don't see it. It's 3. Okay, so it's like Shadow Ball essentially. All right, so think of it like a Shadow Ball. I think it does more damage than Shadow Ball. Feather Dance. Okay, this is where you lower attack by 2. Again, double drops are lower by 4. Teeter Dance, it causes confusion. Very strange, right? And then Perfect Dance, apply stat reduction debuff or stat reduction defense which honestly, in my opinion, is kind of useless. Restores HP by approximately 40%, so it potions, and then raise evasiveness by 1. So basically, Perfect Dance is just, you're going to use this for defense. So you're not going to start off the battle using this. And then Sync Move, the lower the user stats. The more the user stat is raised, the greater power. So I think this is similar to, again, Iris. Champion Iris has the same effect for her Sync Move. So if you look at this unit on paper, okay, without considering the sync grid, this unit literally doesn't have any relevant buffs, right? It can't buff its own special attack. It can't buff its own critical rate. It can't buff speed, can't buff defense. However, it has stat up ×2. So looking at this unit is super reliant on other support units. Like, you need other support units to get this unit going. Because again, you want a lot of your attack to be raised so that you can do good sync move damage. And to take advantage of this high special attack. So yeah, you're gonna need a lot of support units with this unit. So we can go look at the sync grid here, but like this is kind of confusing. So we'll go here to look at the sync grid. Some interesting things about the sync grid that I'll point out. Power posture, here you go. The more the unit attack is lowered, the more it powers up moves. So again, you're gonna use that the feather dance to lower their attack, and then use this to power up your moves. That could be something you do. Recuperation, so it can heal itself when it sync moves. Alright, so more healing that it has in its kit. Again, good defense already, so it might actually be useful. Quick cure and antitoxin, clear-headedness, some stuff to prevent yourself from getting status conditions or status changes. Safety tether, enduring during the first sync move. Again, just more survivability here. And in Perfect Dance, you can make it heal more or make it recover the move point. So again, just this unit has a lot of recoverability. But we're not here for recoverability, guys. We're here for the damage, right? We have Power Posture already. And then changing in Affliction, so it can charge its move gauge every time you use a status move. So basically, it uses Feather Dance for free, because Feather Dance costs 2, and then it charges back 4, which is pretty insane. And then we look at Sync Power Flux. Okay, you need 3 copies to get this, but the fuller the move gauge, the more sync move damage. Okay, so here's another way we can boost damage, is by having a full sync move when you use a move gauge when you use a sync move, which is pretty easy to do. So yeah, it's a tech unit, so it's gonna do a lot of sync move damage because it is 1.5 when it's 6-star, and it also has the sync move, it boosts when you get more stat raise. So this would just make it more damage right here, the sync move, or the power sync power flux. And then you also have grab bag, which is interesting because it debuffs every time you use a move. Like every time you use a move, it debuffs the opponent a random stat. But then keep in mind that it has the passive where the stat goes down twice. Alright, and then the final relevant one in my opinion is going to be the interference sync. So powers up sync move when the opponents has a status change. So it's flinching, confusion, and trap. And recall that this unit has teeter dance, so you can confuse your opponent. So this unit, in my opinion, just like to summarize, super confusing because it can confuse, but it also wants to buff itself a lot. It also wants to debuff the opponent, and also has a lot of healing and survivability. It's a very strange unit, and but I think that this unit could be a very powerful sync nuke, right? Sync nukes are what we call units that just do one sync move that does a lot of damage, right? So what you would want to do is just want to raise, you send out this unit, you raise its stats by a bunch with your support units, you make the opponent confused, and then boom, you use a sync move and you do big damage. That's how I see this unit being used. Again, you can do the whole debuff stuff, you can do the whole healing, tanky stuff, but yeah, that's what I think that this unit could do. Just big sync move damage. But yeah, it's very strange. I think the unit is very strange. There's so much going on with the kit. And so right here I have a sync grid. Again, 3 out of 5 copies of, trying to maximize your sync move damage. But yeah, I don't really like this unit because it's just super confusing. There's no like clear path to do. But hey, I mean, I guess we'll just have to wait and see. And then Dawn, we also have another Dawn. I guess, I mean, this is spoilers, right? But she's gonna be added to like the lounge. She's gonna be added to the trainer lounge. So yeah, we have a 4-star support. So her unit is a Wormadam, which is pretty cool, right? Wormadam. And then yeah, 4-star support, which is good. Again, it's good for Legendary Gauntlet. Extra free support units are always good for Legendary Gauntlet, just so you can push more floors. But it's also good if you're starting out and you roll Dawn, and you can get an extra support unit to go along with your Tyranitar. So healthy healing, natural remedy, move gauge refresh 4. So you have some healing, instant healing when you start off the battle. You can also remove status conditions, which is nice. If you get poisoned or burned, you can remove that to continue tanking. Move gauge refresh 4, which means 50% of the time you can get your move gauge back after you use a move, which is super good. It means that sometimes your support units, you run out of moves to do, and you don't want to take the move gauge away from like your main DPS, and so being able to recover move gauge is pretty decent. Looking at the stats, not the greatest defense and HP. Again, 700 HP with only 250 at like max stats is not really good, but then 380 special defense, so that's not bad. It's not good, but it's not bad. I think the HP is on a little bit of the lower side for a tank. Struggle Bug, they have the move Struggle Bug and Giga Drain. So we have one move that lowers special attack, and then one move that heals. But yeah, no one cost move. So that means this unit as a support is gonna take a lot of move gauge if you want to keep continuing attacking to charge up your sync move. Special attack all and big stretch, which raises special defense and speed by 2. I mean, it's pretty good, right? You can raise special attack and raise speed. So even though this unit is a lot of expensive moves, you can still raise your speed by at least 4, and then also you have the move gauge refresh 4. So I mean, the move gauge economy with this unit might actually not be terrible. Their sync grid, they have some bug zone moves, which I don't personally like, because bug zone, there's only literally one unit that has bug zone, and it's like a limited unit. So basically, I don't even pay attention to like these zone buffs when it comes to any support unit. I don't really pay attention to these buffs unless the unit itself uses those buffs. Struggle Bug, I'm not a big fan. Lowering additional chance of lowering special attack. It's like whatever, right? Giga Drain, again, this is some grass zone buffs. But yeah, I don't know if you want to use this with Signa Lyra. I mean, maybe, but or like that new Whitney, right? Smart Cookie. This unit is a tank, so you don't really care about its power because it's a tank, right? It's not gonna be making powerful moves, and so basically the sync move or the sync grid that I run is, or the I theory craft here is, get your vigilance. This has vigilance built into their sync grid, so you don't need to use a lucky cookie for it. Maybe use a lucky cookie for their lucky skill could be move gauge refresh 2. So just being able to charge more. And then anything other relevant is Team Sharp entry 1. So when this guy gets released, you get to raise the critical hit rate of all your allies in pair by 1. Not terrible, right? Because this isn't gonna be your buffer, your support unit. So not bad. And then big stretch 1, being able to raise defense in addition to special defense and speed, raising defense as well. So yeah. So I think this unit is okay. Again, not good. This unit doesn't have any healing, doesn't have any critical hit rate buff, but decent survivability and decent buffage. So I like it. Not terrible. I think this unit is gonna be pretty good in Legendary Gauntlet. I don't think you're gonna see this unit used in Champion Stadium. On to the next unit. We have the other New Year unit, which is Lisia. Lisia is going to be a strike 5-star. Alright, again, if you want to see what her EX looks like, you can look on it on your own, but I'm not going to show it in this video because I don't want to spoil too much, right? I just want to talk about the units. And this unit looks great. I think Lisia, spoiler alert, is like the best looking unit of this upcoming month. Like, yeah, I just like the hair and the outfit's pretty good. But I mean, it's Lisia, so what do you expect, right? She's kind of like that idol. Is she an idol? Is that what they're called? But yeah, she is going to run Rapidash, Fairy Rapidash, which is the Galarian form. All right, so Fairy Sync or Fairy Shift. So her normal moves are going to be Fairy. All right, so that means that she's probably going to have Hyper Beam or Giga Impact, right? And then Super Sync 9. So it applies a super effective move up after you use a Sync move, which means after they Sync move, they do more damage with their next move, which is pretty okay. Team Antitoxin, so it prevents your team from getting poisoned. Awkward, but hey, it could be good because you're running it as a fairy, so being able to resist poison is pretty good. But yeah, I think only Fairy Shift is relevant in my opinion. Super Sync 9 is extra damage, but it's not like that much extra damage, right? Stat wise, good attack, you know, good high number of attack here, good speed, decent HP. Nothing too crazy about here, just good attack. We know that this is going to be a physical attacker. They have Quick Attack and Giga Impact. So Quick Attack is a free move, and Giga Impact costs 4. So, and then Quick Attack does like half the amount of damage as Giga Impact. But it's honestly it's fine because you know, there's going to be a hard hitting fairy unit that does a lot of damage. And then, you know, if you're running low on a move gauge, for example, if you use Signal Suit Wally, like if you set up a fairy zone and then you don't have enough move gauge, you can always go ahead and use a Quick Attack, you know, so to have good move gauge economy. And also they have Dire Hit Plus and also a Battle Spectacular, so it raises the user's attack and speed by 4 stat, increases physical move up next effect by 0 to 3 ranks at random. Alright, so basically I think when you summon this unit, you want to use the Battle Spectacular immediately. You could also use it before the sync move, but you use it immediately to raise your attack and speed by 4. And then also it's RNG, but you could potentially get 3 stacks of physical move up, and so your next Giga Impact just does omega damage. And then nothing special about the sync move. Just a lot of damage. So yeah, just looking at this unit by itself with no sync grid can almost fully buff itself, right? Can buff its crit rate twice. So what you want to do if you don't have any support units, right? You buff its crit rate to max, and then you use a Battle Spectacular. And so now when you use your sync move, you know, it's going to do a lot of damage. If you land your crit, obviously, it will do a lot of damage. And you also take advantage of the physical move up buff. And then after you're done sync moving, you have the super effective up. And so that you use your sync move, and then your next Giga Impact is going to be Giga damage, right? So it's a very interesting kit, kind of on the lackluster side, because this unit is all about doing damage, you know. So let's check the sync grid. Their sync grid is kind of strange. They have some quick attack buffs, you know, quick attack can refresh itself, can lower defense, does extra super effectiveness, which is strange to think about because quick attack being super effective, well, it's fairy type, so of course it's super effective. Then a fast track 9 to raise speed. You're already raising speed by like 4 stats, so like, you know, you can go the quick attack route, you know. If you want your, for example, if you want your Signal Suit Wally to be main DPS, be main damage with the fairy field, then this unit as a support unit to do extra chip damage, it's not bad because this unit can self buff itself and also has free moves, so it's really good if you want to go the quick attack route. It also has some whimsical, it also has some buffs when it's in fairy zone, so whimsical acceleration, whimsical stability. You know, again, I don't have Signal Suit Wally, and so these are literally useless for me if I were to roll for this unit. Trainer move, we have Battle Spectacular, so it refreshes. Preparation, so it applies a super effective hit, so it does more damage. And then also Critical Eye. So if you want to select this Critical Eye, that means that this unit can fully buff itself in only 2 moves, or almost fully buff, because it doesn't fully buff attack. So you use a Battle Spectacular and Dire Hit Plus and then you already have max crit after that one dire hit, so you don't need to use it twice. So that's something to consider. And then yeah, it has precognition, so also it raises like sync gauge when it's in psychic train. So this unit not only is buffed by fairy train, but also psychic train, which is super strange. But it can do both. But what we're really here is for the Giga damage. Alright, has Giga impact, that means that it needs to do Giga damage, right? And so now we have Bronze Sync 3. So it raises the same move, the higher attack was raised. So honestly, with this unit, even though it raises attack by 4, which might be serviceable, you probably want to use another support unit to fully buff his attack, to take advantage of the sync, Bronze Sync. And obviously just to take advantage of the high Giga impact damage and, you know, your sync move damage. This unit also has weird vibes, which is kind of powers up move when it trains psychic. Again, the problem with this is that the only 2 psychic train units are Bianca and Anniversary May. And honestly, they don't have really good synergy with this unit, because this is fairy and they're psychic. So I don't see the synergy there. But I just have this to get inertia, because the more speed is raised, the more sync move, the more sync damage. So not only attack and speed, you know, if you have max attack and a max speed, then you're going to do big sync move damage on top of, you know, the physical move buff that you get from the trainer move. And then at the end here, we round it out with normal moves. Giga impact, getting refresh is good, and then also ramming speed. Again, so now not only does your sync move do a lot of damage, but your normal attacks, your normal Giga impacts do a lot of damage with the ramming speed. So yeah, I think that this unit is pretty good, but it's really boring. So I already have like Summer Marnie, which is like a really good fairy very good fairy damage unit. And I also have like Diantha. So there's like a lot of fairy units in the game that are pretty good. And this unit is good, but like it doesn't really do anything special, right? Just summarize, it just does big damage. And if you only have her at 1 copy, then you don't even get all this stuff. If you have her at 1 copy, you don't get any of this sync grid stuff. And so she does even less damage. So yeah, I think this unit is fine as a striker, but it's nothing really special. Alright, the next unit is going to be Diantha Signa Suit. Holy crap. Not a Diantha, another one? We've only gone 2 actually, I think. The normal one, her classic, and then her special costume. So we have Diantha here, tech unit, another tech unit, and then 5. So she's a 5-star, and she has a dress. I don't know. There's something about this dress. I'm not a big fan of this design. I don't know. I usually like dresses, but like, I don't know. It just kind of looks like a kind of a childish dress. I don't know how to put it, but I just don't really like the look of the dress. And obviously gloves. I'm not the biggest fan of the gloves either too. But her Pokemon is a shiny Diancie. So we have Diantha with Diancie. I mean, it makes perfect sense. I don't understand why Hilda got it. But it's shiny Diantha. And it's a rock type. Okay, so a lot of competition. A lot of rock types are in the game. Think Blue, think Olivia, you know, think of the train dude. The train dude that wears like the white hat. I forgot his name. So a lot of competition, right? But this is a tech unit, so not completely DPS, right? Trip wire, lower speed by 2 after enter battle. In my opinion, pretty useless. Obviously, if the lowering of speed is useless. But what's not useless is like the buff that you can get when the more the opponent's speed is lowered. But that depends on sync grid, most likely, and maybe sync move. Honing hit. Now this is going to be an interesting one. Grant all the following effects if the attack move is successful. So if it lands, right? It raises the user attack by 2. It raises user's crit by 1. So this already sounds like a good unit to use, because it self-buffs itself, right? As long as it hits your opponent, it can self-buff. And by self-buffing attack and crit rate, it can fully buff his attack in only 30 moves. It's pretty good. And then team unbending, so your team defense cannot be lowered. Pretty irrelevant. Alright, if we look at the stats here, they are not very good. Alright, look at this. HP, not very high, right? It's decent. Attack is 414 for a tech unit. You know, it's not the greatest. It's not bad though. Defense, you know, 220 is not really that impressive. It's not bad. These stats aren't bad, but they're not good. You know, I think the other unit that we looked at, the bird, Dawn's bird, had really good stats. But this unit's stats are kind of not the greatest. And then we look at the moves. Rock Tomb lowers speed. Alright, so basically this unit can lower a lot of speed. Rock Wish. Alright, now we're talking. This unit is a train, not a train, but like a zone setter. Which means that they can set Rock Zone, which buffs rock moves. Wait a minute. A rock zone powers up fairy moves. I don't think that that's right. Is it? I think it's a typo. I think it's supposed to buff rock moves, but the website has it wrong. Oh, we're spoiling. So yeah, it buffs rock moves. So this is going to be really good synergy with your other rock units, right? You're not, you know, you could use this unit as like your rock DPS, but you're most likely going to use this unit in combination with like Olivia, your blue, all that stuff. And then here we have Beta. I think that's called Beta, right? B Diamond Storm. So activation when you have zone, deactivation when you no longer have zone. And what this does is it lowers the target's defense by 2 stat, and it raises the defense of all your allies by 2 stats. So it's gonna be think Signa Suit Red with Pikachu. So what you do is you summon them, you use the zone or wish, and then you use this beta or this special move that hits all opponents. Alright, so similar to Red's Pikachu. Red's Pikachu hits all the units, and it does like a lot of damage, and you can only activate this move when the zone is up. And it also, for Diantha, it lowers defense and it raises your defense. So what I normally did with my Olivia as my rock team, I'll use Olivia with Professor Kukui. So Professor Kukui was able to lower the opponent's defense, which made them more soft for Olivia to hit them. In that case, I did like using lowering my opponent's defense. When normally I don't, in that case I do. And what that does is it just does a lot more damage for Olivia. And then also Professor Kukui can attack for free, which makes him really good. But with this unit also lowers defense. So you can use this instead of Professor Kukui, right? And then you also got the Rock Wish, so you're just gonna do way more damage, right? And then you also raise your own defense. And then the Curtain Rises, reduces sync move counter by 1. The more the defense is raised, raise the special defense the same amount. Okay, so like if you use Beta Storm and you raise defense, you can raise special defense. Well, I'll get to that. It applies healing to the user, and if Diantha is Mega Evolved, it grants all the following effects. So it reduces the sync move again by 1, and it increases the user's physical by 2. 2 ranks. So the thing is, just looking at this move kit, it's weird because like there's just so in my opinion, it's the same problem with Signa Suit Red with Pikachu. Is that you have so many good moves. Like, what's the order that you want to do it in? Because like you would probably want to use Rock Wish and then the Diamond Storm to be able to raise your defense. And then after that, you want to use the Curtain Rises to take advantage of buffing your special defense. Because if you use the Curtain Rises first, then literally is not going to do anything. But like, it was not literally going to do anything. But all it'll do is reduce the sync move countdown by 1, and it applies gradual healing. So like, and then Mega Diantha, did we see that? Yes. So I mentioned that the stats suck. Well, obviously the stats suck because we have a Mega Evolution that, well, it doesn't show it here, but yeah. So similar to Hilda's, this Diantha also Mega Evolves. So it's super strange because I think the combo is you use Rock Wish and then you use Diamond Storm twice, you know, while Rock Wish is up. And then after that, after you sync move with Diantha and you Mega Evolve, then you use a Curtain Rises to buff your special defense by 4 stats, it will probably be. And then you can also reduce the sync move countdown by 2. And then you'll also buff your physical move. So like your next physical move will do more damage. And so after you use the Curtain Rise, you'll probably use Rock Wish again. And then by that time you can sync move, you could probably still have Rock Wish up. Because if you use Rock Wish at the beginning of the battle, and then you sync move with Diantha, at that point, it would have been 3 turns, and Rock Wish would have probably ended already. And so you wouldn't get Rock Wish under the sync move. But because their Curtain Rise reduces the sync move countdown, then you might be able to squeeze in have a rock field. And then you'll also maybe even have the physical move buff before you use the sync move again. Sync move has the same passives. This time it buffs attack and defense. Oh, so now we have good attack. Almost 500 attack is insane. That's a really good attack. Same moves. So yes, this unit seems super complicated because you have to use the Wish, then you have to use the Diamond Storm, and then you use the Curtain Rises after you sync move. So there's a lot going on. But honestly, you don't even need to bother with all this stuff. All you need is the Rock Wish, and then you're good to go, right? So we have Diantha here. And her sync grid is one that also needs 5. So see how there's extra marks here? That means that, well, I think technically the extra ones are, where are they? Are they here? I think they're like, I don't know which ones are extra. But the same grid I have with her is at like 5 copies. So yes, this is a unit that you need 5 copies to get the max sync grid. So it's kind of unfortunate to get, like, if you want to really unlock this unit's potential, you need 5 units. Or you need 5 copies. They have some debuff potential. Lower speed when it enters battle. Rock Tomb, lower speed more. But again, you don't really, in my opinion, you don't really want to bother with the Rock Tomb, right? You just want to do the Beta Diamond Storm because that hits all the enemies. Cakewalk, again, you could try to increase your sync move by lowering speed, but I don't really like this stuff, but just know it's there. Rock Zone stats immunity is not that good. Rock Wish MP2, okay, so you can like refresh it, it's just not bad. Cannot be low. It has some Sandstorm buffs too, which is okay. If you want to use this unit in Sandstorm, it's fine. Trainer move, refresh, also catalytic kick. So when you use the Curtain Rise, it also accelerates the move gauge, which is not bad, right? Sync damage guard. So after it uses a sync move, it can resist 1 hit, which is pretty decent too. Rock Wish initial propulsion is like, I think this is a trash. I think this is a trash tile because I'm not a big fan of propulsion, and yeah, it literally only triggers once. You're literally only going to trigger propulsion once for 10 energy. Like, that's not worth it. So the sync grid that I went to go for is support, but also damage. So you see how I put in like the sync move tiles. I think what you can do with this unit at 5 copies, critical hit land more easily. So basically, when you sync move, you don't 100% crit rate. But if you have this passive on, same passive that Signasuit Serena has with Zygarde, you can 100% always hit your crit in sync moves, which makes it super powerful. Tough Cookie, you're going to be raising your defense a lot by using Diamond Storm, so this will power up your move. You also have Team Sharp Entry 1, which I don't have selected here, but know that you can increase your team's crit rate, because this unit cannot increase its, wait, that's a lie, this unit can't increase its crit rate from its passive, so literally you don't need this in my opinion. Also has Scholar Sync special defense 5, so basically the more special defense you have, the more power sync move, and again, you're going to be raising your special defense by using the Curtain Rises. But then here is why this unit is good at 5 copies. At 5 copies, Rock Zone extension. So if you have this passive, and then you use Rock Zone at the beginning of the battle, by the time you use your first sync move, Rock Zone will still be up. If you don't have Zone extension, sync move, or the zone would be gone. So units that have this, think Maxi, Archie, Again, Signet Suit Red, they all have this, right? But this unit, you need 5 copies to get this, which I think this is the best tile of their sync grid. Usually the tiles that you unlock when you have 5 copies, historically they haven't been the greatest. But this unit in particular is, in my opinion, the first unit that at 5 copies, you get, in my opinion, the best tile, which is this Rock Zone extension. So yeah, how I see this unit being used is this unit is going to replace your sync move. So even though this unit is not, it sets up Rock Zone, I think it's still gonna be the unit that you use sync move with, just because Mega Diantha is like pretty strong, as you saw with the high attack, So how I'll see this being used is, my team, I use Olivia, Professor Kukui, and Hilbert. Instead, I'll replace Professor Kukui with this unit, right, for example. And then this unit, I will sync. Instead of syncing with Olivia, I'll sync with this unit, Diantha. And then Olivia is just going to be there to do extra chip damage. It's going to be like my sub DPS. Well, this is kind of like my main DPS. And then also the Rock Zone will just make my Olivia do more damage. And then Hilbert is there just to buff speed of everybody and buff, basically just buff speed of everybody so that I can consistently use Diamond Storm and Stone Edge. But yeah, so I think this unit is the best unit that's getting released in the next update, simply because Rock Zone is super good, and I think their kit's super good. Unfortunately, if you only have 1 copy, I mean, that's still fine, because at 1 copy, all you do is you summon that Rock Zone, and then you use the Diamond Storm, and you can still use the Curtain Rise. You still have the same combo, but just know that your Rock Wish, you can only use it twice, and it's not going to last long. So you have to really plan out when you use your Rock Wish, so to time it, with your powerful sync moves. In that case, I would probably use Rock Wish and then sync move with Olivia if I only had a 1 copy. So yeah, I think Diantha is, again, the best unit because you have Rock Wish. I mean, that's just simply it. The next unit is Shauna. Shauna is going to be, so the units that we've mentioned so far, I believe are going to be limited. Just for your information, they're going to be limited, and so like they're a bit more premium than a unit like Shauna. Shauna is going to not be limited. I believe she's just going to be added into standard, the standard scouting immediately. And for her, she's a 5-star support. Again, we like our supports because supports are always going to be relevant, in my opinion, in like Legendary Gauntlet, and maybe even relevant in Champion Stadium, depending on what your needs are. She's going to have a Chestnut, so that completes all the starters, right? Both Calum and Serena have Greninja. Serena also has Delphox, and now Shauna's going to have Chestnut. So it completes all the starters. So if you want all the starters, you have them, which is good. And then here's where the sadness starts with this unit. So, Team Dauntless Defender 9. So it raises defense and special attack of all units by 1 when the user nullifies opponent's move with a defensive posture. Okay, so this unit is going to be like Pierce, where they have a move that can like defend and then prevent them from getting damage, and then like you buff your team. Very similar to Pierce, very similar to Pierce. So the thing about this, a thing about blocking moves or moves that take like 2 turns to trigger. So for example, I've already mentioned Cynthia with Giratina. Cynthia with Giratina has Shadow Force, which takes like, you use the move 1 turn, and then your opponent attacks. Or you charge up that move, and then your opponent attacks, and then that move triggers. Same thing with like Solar Beam, Solar Blade, like Solar Beam from Ho-Oh, Solar Blade from Leafeon, Fly from Faulkner, right? All those units have that move. And the problem with that move, with moves that take time to trigger like that, is that it disrupts the move gauge, the sync move, not move gauge, it disrupts the sync move script. Because what you do normally, unless you have like a move gauge countdown, like a move that reduces the sync move countdown. What you do is that when the battle starts, you queue up 3 moves. So each of your units use 3 moves, and then your opponent attacks, and then you use 3 more moves, and then your opponent attacks, and then you use 3 more moves, and then your opponent attacks, and then by that time your sync move has been fully charged, and then you can use a sync move after your opponent's 3rd attack. That's how the normal script goes. However, with moves like these, when you activate it, it reduces the sync move countdown, but when the attack triggers, it doesn't. So what happens is that, so you use 3 units. You start off with 3 units, for example, and then you use one of these moves that takes like a turn to trigger. So you use one of these moves, and then then your opponent attacks, and then after your next like kind of turn where you use the 3 moves, this move that triggers from the last turn, it doesn't reduce the cooldown again. So what happens is that you've only reduced the sync move countdown 5 times. Then you use 3 more moves and it's 8. You have it at 8. But you can't sync move with 8. You can only sync move after 9. So basically, instead of being able to sync move after your opponent uses the 3rd move, you sync move. Hopefully this makes sense. You sync move after your opponent makes the 4th move. The thing about this is that sometimes in Champion Stadium and stuff like that, you don't have time to, because that one extra move your opponent does could be a difference between you winning or losing the battle. It's very important to be able to sync move as early as possible so that you can get buffed or that you can do damage. So moves like these, where it reduces the sync move the sync move countdown by an uneven amount, and it makes it so that it takes an extra turn for you to use a sync move, I think are really bad. One unit that has recently came out that has tried to combat this has been N with Kyurem. So I didn't roll for N with Kyurem, but N with Kyurem has a move that takes 2 turns. So it takes 1 turn to set up and then 1 turn to trigger. However, the thing about that move in that kit is, I forgot what part of N's kit that this happens, but after you use that move, it reduces the sync grid, it reduces the sync move countdown by 1. So even though that move takes 2 turns, and when you activate it, it immediately only triggers the sync move countdown by 1. With that passive, it's able to have the sync move count. It's able to reduce the sync move countdown by 2, which means that your normal script of lowering the sync move countdown is the same. So it still takes 3 turns. When I say 3 turns, I mean your opponent attacks 3 times, and if you use Kyurem and you use that move, you can still be able to sync move at turn after your opponent's 3rd move. But yeah, so this unit doesn't have that, and so it's really awkward to use blocking moves. So basically, I think that this unit's blocking is like not very good because it disrupts the sync move flow. So that's just my little rant about that move, or about this move, but we'll see it in the future. Block and charge. So it charges the move gauge by 3 every time it nullifies a move, which I guess is fine, but again, you're nullifying a move, which disrupts the sync move countdown. And then Sync Burst 1 restores 1 MP every time you use a sync move, over the first time you use a sync move. So that it means that you can block again. Honestly, the Sync Burst is not bad because as you see here, it has this unit has a lot of trainer moves. But if we look at the stats real quick, these are some excellent stats. Alright, now this is a good stat for a tank. 867 HP, pretty good HP. Really good HP actually. Defense, at 150 5-star max potential, it breaks 300 defense in both defense and special defense, which is insane. So this unit has excellent defense, excellent HP. It even has pretty decent attack. Look at this. I mean, attack stats don't really matter on a tank, but like 400 attack is pretty good. Speed is also not terrible too. So very excellently statted unit. Looking at the moves, Vine Whip isn't very good because it costs 2, but it does 20 damage. Like, why wouldn't it cost 1? Are you sure Vine Whip costs 2? I forgot where I'm at. No, Vine Whip only costs 1. Okay, so it's another mistake by the website. But Vine Whip only costing 1 is pretty good actually, because it means that this unit is cheap. You have Mini Potion All, so you can recover all your allies' HP. So similar to Signa Suit. Oh, what's her name? It's the person with the Suicune. Oh, I forgot her name. It's not Lyra. It's not Ethan. It's Oh, I forgot her name. Chris. Her name is Chris. It's Signa Suit Chris, and also Red Snorlax also has Potion All, right? Spiky Shield. Again, this is like Pierce's move, where like you put yourself in a defensive posture, you prevent a hit, and so yeah. No other action can be taken. No fight while it leaves specified position. If the move was a physical move, deal damage. So basically, it prevents you from getting hit. If it's a physical move, then you deal damage to your opponent, but also you raise some stats. And then off we go. Raises attack by 2 and critical hit rate by 1. So if we ignore the fact that Spiky Shield disrupts the sync move countdown, which I think is super important, this is a very good unit. Excellently statted. Sync burst 1, making her so that she can do more potions, that she can do more buffs if she sinks, right? You do have a cheap move in Vine Whip, so that you can as a tank, you don't want to take up the move gauge. And you also have Spiky Shield, which prevents you from getting damage. So not only do you have healing, but you can prevent yourself from getting hit. Even though it disrupts your move gauge, it's still pretty good in terms of not getting hit by your opponent's move. I think I'm here, right? Looking at the sync grid, we have inbuilt vigilance, and so yeah, that's pretty good. We also have Vine Whip trap. You can trap your opponent using Vine Whip if you want. Rejuvenate 6, so if you use a sync move, you fully charge yourself. Again, some grass zone stuff, which I don't really even care about. Endurance, again, just more survivability for your tank. You have Brisk Bulwark. So every time you use a sync move, or every time it blocks your opponent move, oh, it reduces count by 1. Okay, so this is what oh my gosh, I'm an idiot. I didn't even look at this. So this is what I'm talking about. If you activate this ability and you block the move, it does not disrupt your sync grid, or does not disrupt your sync move countdown. But note that this only happens once per battle. Alright, so okay, maybe I was a bit too hard on the whole sync move countdown rant, because you can still be on track if you have this passive activated, but it only happens once. Just keep that in mind. MP refresh is pretty good if you want to block moves, and then you can buff your physical moves if you block. It only happens once. That being said, though, the kit that I went with this unit is that, I went for the endurance, and then I went for a potion, so buff, and then also defense when it puts into field. Alright, so if we take out the whole thing about like disrupting the sync move countdown, I think this unit is great, honestly. Because again, even though the sync move countdown is going to be disrupted, you can block hits, you can heal everybody, you can fully raise crit rate, you can fully raise attack, you have a cheap move, you have endurance, you have built-in vigilance if you want. So yeah, I think this unit is a really good, just a really good unit to be able to a tank. I think even at 1 copy, it's still pretty good, just because at 1 copy, you can still max out attack and crit rate as long as you sync with this first. So what you want to do is you'd probably want to use Off We Go twice, Vine Whip once, sync with it, use Off We Go again, and then maybe mini potions if you're taking damage, spiky shields, and then you're gonna attack with your tank or attack with your main DPS and finish your opponent off. So I really do like this unit, even though I was a bit harsh with the whole sync move countdown being disrupted. In most cases, doesn't really matter if your sync move is slow by a turn. In most cases in Champion Stadium it does, but in other cases it might not. And then also, I showed my hotbar. Is it bad? No, we're good. We can show the hotbar. It's not bad. But then also, like, this unit has healing. It can prevent it from taking damage. So, there's a lot of stuff. So I think this unit is fine. But I'll just have to test it out to see. But yeah, great stated unit. Everything about this unit is pretty good. Alright, our last unit to talk about is Kali. So Kali is a 3-star support unit. 3-star? Oh, that means that she's probably free. Okay, I'll be 100% transparent with you guys. I have no idea who this is. I'm looking at their outfit, and I still don't have any idea. Is this like a Sun and Moon character? I never finished Sun and Moon, so this might be a Sun and Moon character. Because, yeah, I never finished Sun and Moon, and honestly, I forgot a lot about Sun and Moon. So I'm guessing that this is Sun and Moon. She's Alolan. But yeah, she's a 3-star support, so I'm guessing she's going to be free. But support's good. She has a Azumarill, quick tempo, so when it gets released, it has, your sync gauge is increased. Fireproof, which kind of useless. Flame Guard, which is kind of useless. Terrible stats. Look at this. As a support unit, 700 HP. It's not high. Not even 250 defense. At max, upgrades, not even 250 defense. So terrible defense. So as a tank, as a support unit, low HP, low defense, honestly, it's not going to cut it. This unit is just bad. Like, already, just by looking at the stats, that's just how it is. And the passive and the stats, I don't even need to look at the moves or the sync grid. I just know this unit is already going to be bad. But hey, she's free, so whatever, right? Draining Kiss, X defense, Bubble Beam, strong and stylish, so able to raise special attack of all units by 2, special defense of all by 1, and applies gradual healing to self only. Alright. Expensive moves, so not very good. She is able to give decent buffs, like can buff a lot of defense, can buff a lot of special attack, can heal herself, so not terrible. But yeah, this is probably going to be like Legendary Gauntlet or bust, because I don't see this unit being really good at all. Where am I? I'm here. No, I'm here. So Azumarill, again, her sync grid isn't really, I'm not really going to talk much about her sync grid. I just have kind of like a support sync grid here. Because again, she's a free unit, so like there's really not much to talk about her, in my opinion. But here I have like a little bit of just full support, no damage. Alright, we're just focusing on support, and then that's it. So yeah, anyways, this video has already gone so long. I didn't think that this video would take an hour, and we're not even done yet. Look at all these other stuff that I need to talk about. I guess I'll make another video talking about the other stuff. But yeah, I think that my throat also really hurts. So I think that this new update, we got some pretty cool units. Again, it's Dawn. So just a recap. Dawn, Oricorio, really confusing unit. I think this unit has a lot of competition in the game. I don't think this unit is gonna. I think this unit has potential at like 3 copies, but at 1 copy, I don't think it's any good. It's decent, good stats, and it's a really interesting unit. But I think at 1 copy, not really gonna cut it. I think at 3 copies is really where you're gonna see the big damage. Dawn and Wormadon, decent, not bad. you know, it's just a really good unit for Legendary Gauntlet because it has a lot of good healing, right? The next unit is going to be Lisia and Rapidash. This unit is just pure damage. I mean, not really much to say. If you need a fairy type striker and you like Lisia, I mean, this is a good time to come in. I think like other units like Signet Suit Wally and you know, Summer Marnie are gonna just smash this unit because this unit isn't that good. You know, big damage with Giga Drain, big damage with the sync move with the Battle Spectacular. So I see it, but yeah, nothing really special about Lisia. Diantha with Diantha, super good unit. You know, well statted after Mega Evolution, has Rock Zone or Rock Wish, Rock Zone, super strong. And yeah, that's basically it. If you have her at 3 copies, she does a lot of damage herself. If you have her at 5 copies, she's able to summon the zone that lasts a long time. So yeah, at 1 copy, she's just gonna do Rock Wish, do a little bit of damage. At 3 copies, she's gonna do a lot of damage, and her, she can probably carry by herself as a Rock Striker. And then at 5 copies, she can make the zone last forever, making her incredibly good for the whole battle. Next unit is Shauna with Chestnut. Again, your sync move might suffer in terms of the timing of them, but in terms of her tanking abilities and her buffing abilities, very good. She's a great support unit. Yeah, I think even at 1 copy she's really good, but at 3 copies she's even better because she's able to buff better. And Kali is Kali, not very good. So yeah, my personal plans on these units, I am probably going to skip all of them. I'm still waiting. Oh my gosh, I'm like, cause I just want Signet Suit, or I just want a Zinnia alt, guys. That's all I want. And like, come on, Lisia got an alt. Wally recently got an alt. All these like minor Hoenn characters are getting alts, and then there's Zinnia, who is just stuck with looking normal. But yeah, I think if I would roll, I think the best unit again is Diantha. I don't think I'll roll for her because even though she's super good, I don't really need extra power in my rock team. I also don't really like how she looks, and I also don't like that I need 3 copies to do more damage and 5 copies to get the zone extension, right? So at 1 copy she's kind of sad. At 1 copy she's like basically only a rock zoner, and you know, some pretty good damage, some pretty good buff. Dawn is like not even gonna bother. Shauna I'm not gonna bother because she's gonna go to standard. So yeah, so the only 2 units that I'll potentially roll for are Lisia, just because I really like how she looks, and then Diantha because she's really good. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this video. I know it's like an hour just to talk about like what 5 units, 6 units. So I think I'm gonna make another video talking about the rest of the sync grids because there are a few more sync grids to go over. The video shouldn't be that long because I'm not gonna talk about characters. I'm just gonna talk about the sync grids themselves, and then that should be it. So yep. Thank you for watching, and next time, if you want to, I'll continue talking about the other syncers of the update, or yeah, of the next, not update, but the next patch, or not the next patch, but the next month, the syncers are gonna come out. So yeah, thank you for watching, and yeah, see you in the next video.